What's up, Patreon peoples out there? Troy the Max Extreme back at it again.
And Ghost Hunter Dave still at it.
Together, we're slapping asses as Imperius Rex.
Slapping asses and slapping, I don't know, whatever the opposite of an ass is. A dick?
Other asses.
A vagina? I don't know. God, this is a vulgar start if anyone's just jumping into this podcast. We usually don't evolve into this until like the halfway point, but
yeah.
Special.
We're cruising right along with our Marvel events. We just did a space epic adventure of Annihilation, which I thought was a little worse than I remember, and you hated.
No, it's good, right? My major problem was it all kind of felt samey to me, I guess. Like,
yeah,
it was. You know what? Listen to that podcast if you want to hear about it.
Yeah, we don't have time 45 for that. Minutes.
We have World War Hulk to talk about.
But we're going to pluck Hulk from outer space and bring him back to Earth.
That's
and
right.
See what sort of ramifications and what he has to say to the Illuminati that shot him off into space in the first place.
I'll tell you what he has to say.
He doesn't say much. He just slaps people around.
That's right. He lets his fists do the talking.
That's right. He's slapping asses like Imperius Rex over here.
That's right. And maybe dicks and vaginas. Who knows? Who knows? So this was in 2007. This one published 1 year after Annihilation. And it was helmed by Greg Pak, who was the front runner, the showrunner, the book runner of Planet Hulk, but he brought along an industry vet, old JR himself.
That's right. What are your initial thoughts on Romita Jr.'s art?
It's a style that I grew into.
Yeah.
I'm not in love with it, It's the Romita style, It's a little Frank Miller-y, I would say.
A little bit.
I like his dad's style more than his.
Yes. There's some things that he does, like when he's on Spider-Man, I really like him on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But I've never liked him on the Hulk. For whatever reason, I think he draws him kind of doofy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only real character that I have an issue with him drawing. So I'm kind of bummed out when this came out and I saw these bitchin' David Finch covers.
Yeah.
Of the Hulk looking menacing as shit and pissed off, and then inside I'm like, oh man,
Yep, I felt the same way, where I'm like, it almost seemed like a little bit of a bait and switch on Marvel's part. The cover, the back cover, everything in this collection is showing off the Finch. And then you get the inside. And I mean, for the average comic reader who just pulls it off the shelf because the cover looks cool and they're like, oh, Hulk. I imagine a lot of them open up and they're like, ugh, I don't know about this. It is. It's like an acquired taste. You develop an appreciation for his art, but I don't know if a whole lot of people just love it right off the bat,
Right. And I have grown to appreciate it more, and just his work ethic in general, because he can crank out books like freaking Kirby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's never late on deadlines. He can he's an amazing artist on that kind of front. It's just it is a style. It's kind of like a blocky style you have to kind of get accustomed to.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's not overly detailed or anything too. It isn't a realistic or a super epic looking style like some of these other guys that have come since.
Right.
So yeah, it looks a tad outdated, I guess I would say, especially coming off Planet Hulk, where we had Gary Frank. Is that who did a lot of Planet Hulk there? Yeah, Gary Frank.
Yeah.
He didn't do the whole thing, but I mean, I love his work, and it's there's some big differences between the two artists.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um,
I think
so
Romita Jr. did the Century miniseries, the second one, probably right around this time too. And
oh,
Century
that
plays a
Century
pretty big
Reborn.
role in this.
Yeah, he plays a role in it. Like, not not huge.
He's their ace in the hole. They just keep on coming back to old Bob Reynolds there, just waiting it out in his house out in the middle of nowhere. Like,
Right.
come on, Bob. Wake up.
So this takes place like immediately following Planet Hulk, right? Where the ship he's sent in explodes, destroying everything he loves, like his wife, his civilization that he's built,
His unborn
um,
child.
his unborn child, and it just turns it to asunder, right?
Yep.
And so like he gathers his warbound, and they are gonna just shove it right back up their asses, whoever made this spaceship.
Yeah, that's right. Stark Tech.
And so they they rocket to Earth, and
They
on
take
the
a
way
quick,
there,
yeah, quick pit stop at the moon.
I actually really liked this scene quite a bit. Like I thought it was a great kind of like prelude of what's going to happen once he gets to Earth, where he takes it to Black Bolt.
Yeah, I like that too.
Because Black Bolt is like, I always am like amazed at how much like I enjoy the Inhumans. Because sometimes like I'll think about them and I'm like, God, they're kind of like just X-Men light, you know?
Yeah.
But then
Yep.
anytime like I read in Inhumans something I'll pick up, I'm like, I kind of like this. Like I almost enjoy it more. Like it's the weird. I guess it's just the. It's
It's a weird
that
X-Men, yeah.
it's a weird thing that I don't like the X-Men as much as I like the Inhumans.
Then you must
And
have
I
loved that
consider that-
Inhumans relaunch where they crammed them down our throats for like 10 years in Marvel properties.
Odd thing is, like, I did very little reading around that time
Yeah.
of what was going on in Marvel, so like I missed almost all of it.
We'll get there.
But thank God. But like I love Black Bolt as a character, and I love it when he just shows up to stop the Hulk. And
I'm gonna
he's just
say,
like,
yeah, I really like all of the Illuminati. I think those are like some of those characters that I don't always think about. I mean, some of them are more mainstream than others, but like Black Bolt and Black Panther and Namor and
Yep.
like that relationship, I love. Love them more in that scenario than just about anything else in their solo titles.
oh yeah, for real. But when the Hulk is like, hey, bud, you kind of fucked up, and I'm gonna take it to you right now, and he's just like quiet, like whispers and just like smashes him into a crater into the moon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he turns around like he's dusting off his hands, like he's like, well, that's that. And
Yep.
then the Hulk like just ravages him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think you even see it. It's like a horror movie cutaway there as he's just leaping at him. And then the next time you see him, Hulk just like throws his broken body down down to New York, which he then devastates as well.
Yeah. And so like there's a lot of collateral damage in this. Like do they cuz I kind of breezed through this book again. Does he say like evacuate New York City?
Yeah,
In,
I
like-
believe he gives people a time limit to get out of there, and then they just trash the place. Like
Right.
the damage in this was insane. For this like 5-issue miniseries that I feel like is never really brought into the same lens as something like Civil War or Secret Invasion. I'm like,
Right.
this must have just killed millions of people. Like, how
Right.
the Hulk could show his face again after the shit he brought down, turning Madison Square Garden into a gladiatorial arena and then making the heroes fight to the death. I'm like, Hulk, you have crossed a line, my friend.
It's so strange like how like the Hulk is portrayed mostly as like it's like a nuisance because like he is like rampaging through everything, destroying a ton of stuff. So like you would almost think the general populace would be like, good job, Illuminati, shooting him into space.
Oh,
He
for
kind of
sure.
sucks for us.
Yeah. You know what?
And then
We
when he
really don't
comes
like the
back-
Hulk when we think about it.
When he comes back and he's like, I'm going to take it to the Illuminati because they shot me into space and tried to kill me. Everyone be like, yeah, we know. You suck. Like,
Yeah.
but at this, so like, this whole series is like, just a big action set piece, right? There, I don't feel like there's a whole lot of substance to this
No,
title.
I don't feel
And-
like that either. For the repercussions and what goes down, it's like only giving you the highlights, and I feel like there needs to be more at work here than just Hulk trashing these heroes.
Right.
It just
And
really makes everyone seem like underpowered and just like useless compared to him.
I know, and even though they're trying to like really take, like, Iron Man has his like new Hulkbuster outfit and all this other shit, and Hulk still trashes it anyway. It's still, I don't know. It just feels like the heroes should still be more formidable. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess they're really trying to show like the Hulk is really fucking stepped up his game, and
Yeah.
he is like the angriest he's ever been. Like, I get that, because even in like the current Hulk books now, when they're up in like Bruce Banner's Mindscape, the
Mhm.
one that's always locked up is this Hulk, the World Breaker Hulk, because once he
Yeah.
gets out, like, shit's hitting the fan, you know?
Yeah. You
But,
know what? I feel like if in order to convey that, I hate to say it, but like maybe you should have got a different artist. You know? Because JR just everything is so clean, and like, you know, it's way more through that like comic booky lens where I feel like it doesn't have that really brutal impact that something like, you know, like David Finch. And I don't love David Finch, but like his would feel more devastating, I feel like.
Visceral. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I can agree with that. But like at this end of the day, like they try to make it seem like there's gonna be stakes, and I don't feel like I never felt like there really are.
No. I mean, because like Hulk is so off the mark. You're like, none of this could possibly stick. You know? Like
Right. Yeah.
he is so like so much of a villain that you know like this isn't gonna be the Hulk going forward for a while. Like this is just this little weird little event they're doing. And the heroes are so like underpowered, as I said earlier. It's like I don't know, just it all felt like more of a what if than anything with like lasting repercussions to the universe.
Right. I completely agree, because at the end of the day, like, I'm a bit underwhelmed with this title, and I wanted to like it. I think it's a cool concept. Like, it makes sense. Like, he's coming to get revenge on the people who smited him. Like, I get it. Like, it sounds awesome, but like at the same time, we just got done with Civil War with hero fighting hero,
Yeah.
and he's coming back to like really fuck shit up.
Yeah,
But like
it almost
the
should
end-
have been bigger, you know? Like if Civil War should have been like, oh, you thought Civil War was bad. Now we have the fucking Hulk to deal with, you know?
right.
It's like give it
Ma-
more
yeah,
issues,
maybe it
do
should have been.
something more. I mean, if this was more of a stir up in the Marvel universe than Civil War should have been. If Hulk comes back and like everyone has to band together after just having to choose sides, it's like we're no longer hero against hero. Now we have to get our shit together and stop the Hulk. And with Planet Hulk
Yeah.
being like 20 something issues and that being the lead up, I felt like this should have been more of an event than Planet Hulk was, but it felt like way less of one, almost like an afterthought or an epilogue, where it's like
Yeah.
Planet Hulk should have all been building to this, but nobody really
And
remembers World War Hulk.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like Planet Hulk is regarded as a much better title.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I know there was other titles that came out like alongside this. Like, I think like the Warbound was a title where it's like all of his buddies
Yeah.
that came down with him, and some other stuff. I think maybe
Yeah, it probably would have
What's his
helped to read
son's
some of
name?
those, but I didn't give a shit about any of those spin-offs either.
No,
So,
I didn't either, because I mean, at the end of the day, it all turns out that Meek is the shit for brains that
oh,
like
fucking
screwed
Meek.
with the spaceship anyway.
Man, I
God
didn't realize
damn
how
it.
much I hated Meek until I read Meek in this comic book form. I only knew him from like the Thor movie, and I loved him in that because he was quiet and he kept to himself. But in this, he's just such a little piece of shit. I hated him. And
Yeah,
he's behind the whole thing.
yeah, I know.
That
And
bloated
you
bug
finally
bastard.
you finally just get to like him in Planet Hulk because he like takes a total turn of face and becomes like a hero, and then he's a total fucking shitbird again.
Oh,
And he gets
Benedict Arnold,
down
son
to
of a
earth.
bitch.
I know. But yeah, so like the Hulk is tearing shit up. He's turning Madison Square Garden into like a gladiatorial arena, making hero fight hero, and he's like doing the thumbs down, like freaking
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix over here. Like
It was
like
such a
they're
gladiator.
they're not gonna kill each other. You know that that's not gonna be the case. And
Mhm.
then the Sentry flies in, and like it looks like all of New York is destroyed once the Sentry comes in.
Oh
Like
man,
it
it
should
made
just
the
be a
Man of
steaming
Steel.
crater.
Yeah, it made the Man of Steel finale look like nothing.
I know, right? And I don't feel like you can build New York up fast enough to destroy it again in Secret Invasion, which
I
is coming
know.
up very soon.
Yeah, my word.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like that's it. Like the
Um,
stakes in this were so high, but they never felt like they were. It just was like, well, we'll just sweep that up. The city's fine. I mean, I don't know what we're gonna do with Madison Square Garden. I guess start holding American Gladiator matches here. But like I thought even Stark Tower crumbled down, or maybe it just like
like everything did. Everything is done.
Yeah.
Everything is done for.
yeah, like the
Yeah.
Sentry's weird little Jay Lee inspired crown. It like falls
Uh-huh.
off of it. It looks like the whole building comes crashing down.
I don't know, Dave.
I don't know
World War
either.
Hulk.
I will say one thing I did enjoy: Hulk breaking Doctor Strange's fucking hands.
Oh, fuck his hands, right?
Yep. Fuck your hands. His hands. Him and Quasar. The two of them. Just. They're one weakness, but still their greatest strength.
Oh my
you know,
God.
don't go waving them around. You're just asking for them to get smushed.
I know. I also like too how the whole setup is to that. Like he tries to calm him down, like being in his astral form, and puts his hand eventually on Bruce Banner's shoulder when he like reverts to his human form, and then the Hulk's like, "Gotcha, bitch!"
Yep.
And, like reverts to the Hulk right quick and just crushes his hands.
Oh,
It's
if
like,
this was made in
I
the
got you,
70s, I
dumb
would have
bitch.
loved to just have like that really quick shaky zoom in on his eyes as he like looks up and then turns into the Hulk. Gotcha, bitch. Yeah.
Oh my god!
And then
But then like
all the other because like I'm reading the Avengers books during this too, you know, because that's the backbone of this event that I'm seeing through, and there's
Right.
no mention of this whatsoever. It almost felt like it just the main continuity of Marvel at this time didn't even want to acknowledge this.
God, what is going on?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they promised Greg Pak, like, yeah, and then you can do your World War Hulk. He's like, oh, great, it's gonna be this awesome event. I can't wait to do it. You're like, yeah, it's gonna be good. It'll be something. You know,
it will be something. If anything, it will be something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And then you know, it's like most Hulk stuff. It ends with him just getting pummeled and pummeling them, and everyone pummeling everybody, until they just kind of tire themselves out, and then it's done. It's like you just hit things hard enough and fast enough and long enough, and they'll tire themselves out.
Yeah, and that's what happens. He gets all tuckered out, and
It's a little cranky.
he goes down.
And
He goes down for a nap.
Has a little
That's it.
rest. In this case, I think they imprison him 3 miles underground in some sort of shield base, along with his remaining warbound crew, which are also just a bunch of scumbags.
Yeah, I mean, there's Korg, but he's not the Korg we know and love from
No,
Thor.
not that sweet New Zealand accent, that soft-spoken, gentle giant. Yeah.
Oh man, it's too bad that the last events that we got
Kind
are just kind of soured us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, I wanted to get these out of the way because I read these like maybe a month ago, maybe a little less.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
wanted to get these off the plate because I'm currently reading Secret Invasion, and I am really enjoying it. Really
But
enjoying it.
you're reading like Avengers concurrently with it too, because I feel like Bendis
Yes,
with
and if I
Secret
wasn't, I
Invasion.
wouldn't be enjoying it.
Yeah, he was leading up to that like for a long time. Like I'm
Yeah.
actually amazed in Secret Invasion like how many seeds he planted.
Oh man, I think I sent you a text on this, but like when we started
Yeah.
this this little event fatigue podcast, I think in like new we were discussing New Avengers Breakout and Secret War and all this stuff, and I was like, do they have what about this thing? What about this shadowy person talking? Does that ever play a role again? What about this thing in Savage Land? Does that ever come up? And like neither of us could remember, and I was like, I don't know, maybe that's just nothing. Turns out they were all going to Secret Invasion. I was like, wow, well done, Bendis. I read this issue to issue when it came out years and years ago, and I mean, spread out over like 5 years, I didn't remember any of that shit. So reading them
Right,
all
right.
within a span of a couple months, it's like this is really good. You know, really makes the argument to not read monthlies, I guess. But someone has to, or else the industry's down. But like, man, this played so much better just being able to read like one after another. And then I got the reading order for this, so I'm interspersing New Avengers and Mighty Avengers. And those are just giving you little backgrounds and little shreds of details that are really good. I would say I'm liking those two Avengers titles more than Secret Invasion right now. But they
Oh
all just
wow.
kind of feel like the same story. So I'd be hard pressed to tell you what happened in what book.
Oh sure, sure.
But yeah, like
But
I mean,
that's
yeah, without getting into
that's
it too
a
much.
story for another time.
Yeah, we'll give Secret Invasion the due diligence because as we learned at the new Marvel Disney Expo or whatever, there's gonna be a Secret Invasion TV show coming out, which is
Mm-hmm.
cool. I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with that because I imagine that's just gonna kick off a whole bunch of craziness in the movie slate by the time they get
Yeah.
all the tracks laid for this Black Ops Skrull unit.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I was actually quite impressed with the Disney Investor Day or whatever that was of what all they had on the table for Marvel. I'm like,
My
man, they're
lord. Yeah.
they're
4 movies and like 5 or 6 TV shows all coming up in 2021. Like, are you kidding?
yeah.
I'm not going to have
Yeah.
time to watch anything else. I won't even have time to watch all that shit. That's too much content, Marvel. What have you been doing? Oh, nobody's
Yeah.
been doing anything.
I get it.
COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you make these? Man, everyone's coming out of
That's
the gates swinging. And WB
that's
putting
right.
all their stuff on HBO Max? My lord.
I know. Oh, did you hear that like pretty much all of Hollywood just hates that?
Oh yeah, I can't see it working out well for them. But I'm happy because I would rather watch it than go to the theater. So
Oh yeah, for
as long as
sure.
I'm happy, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's the American way.
The like there's two things that stuck out to me with that. Like Chris Nolan says, well, like he's like fed up with WB. He says it's the worst streaming service ever. And
Yeah,
then and then like Legendary Pictures, who fronted like most of the money for like this Godzilla and Kong and the Dune movie,
yeah.
with
The
those
Dune
movies going
director
straight.
Dennis is not happy about that.
Yeah, like who is gonna pay Legendary Pictures for like pay him back for fronting the cash for this movie? You know,
Yeah,
like
I agree.
and all
It's
the
not
people.
in the long term. This can't possibly work out. Like, there's obviously some big gaps, but like, you also can't just expect everyone to want to go to a movie theater right now. I certainly don't.
Yeah,
Like
same
if
here.
it's just me in the theater, sure, but like if you want droves of people to show up, then it's gonna be a fucking hothouse again, and it's gonna be a big mess. Like, they're
Right.
I don't know. There's no good way either way right now. I feel like they're just very opposite sides of the spectrum that need to somehow meet in the middle on this. Even
Yeah.
if they dropped it
Yeah.
on HBO Max and gave you the option to rent it or buy it, I'd be down for that. Like when I found out Wonder Woman is going to be streaming on HBO Max for free the day it comes to the theaters, I couldn't believe that. I was like, but you still have to like rent it, right? Like, no, it's just there. Like, are you kidding? I would have paid for that. I
Right.
would have paid for Kong. All those.
Right. Yeah. But I wonder, because like the slate for movies for what was supposed to come out like 2021, or I'm sorry, 2020, pretty much is all coming out on HBO Max next year. And I wonder if they're gonna split it out like enough that like people will just have the subscription like all
so they
year.
have to keep, so they have to keep renewing it. That's fine. I
So
love
it's like-
HBO
it's-
Max. Like I watch the shit out of that. It's almost all we watch.
I'm only just able to get HBO Max like today because they finally made a deal with Roku
Oh yeah.
to finally get it on their freaking service. So
Yeah.
like I'll probably get that right before Christmas here so I can watch Wonder Woman and stuff. But
Oh, for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Should we wrap
fun
this up?
stuff.
Should we wrap up our World War Hulk talk with our big HBO Max and Marvel streaming service debate?
You bet we should.
Yep. That's how we do it.
So that was our latest stop on this Marvel event train, World War Hulk. Join us for our next stop, which will be Secret Invasion.
Oh yeah.
And maybe, Dave, you'll dip us into what was happening in the Avengers and all that kind of stuff, too. I don't know if
My
I'm going to
God,
go back
will
and
I?
read the Avengers,
Will
but I'll
I?
go
I
back
will.
and read Secret Invasion.
Yeah, I'll fill you in or give you some notes on which ones wouldn't hurt to refamiliarize yourself with.
Good freaking deal. So thanks to all the patrons out there. I thank you for being there for us during this hard time, and I hopefully we can be there for you. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean?
Give us a call.
But yeah, for sure. I'm glad the new Discord server is up, so we can have like a fun chat on that anytime we want. I feel like it
That's
works
right.
way better than trying to chat in freaking the Patreon app.
Yeah, the Patreon app is kind of garbage. I mean, it's necessary, but it's better to kind of work things through that. But yeah, the newly added Discord is just one of many new perks that we will be rolling out to the patrons and the show itself over the next year. A lot of good stuff coming up. I'm excited to tell you about it.
I love it. But until next time, I have been Troy to the Max Extreme.
And I've been Ghost Hunter Dave.
And this, of course, has been Imperius Rex. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Imperius Rex. 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 Imperius Rex.